Warning, viewers' discretion is advised, as this may contain mature or triggering content. Title: Loving Who, Part 4. Amy had darted back into the restaurant, rushing towards the bathroom. She couldn't face anyone right now, not while crying. The faint lipstick she wore every day was clearly smudged. She burst through the bathroom door, the faucet flicked on, and she washed her face. The warm water dripped down as she stared into the sink. What had happened just now? Honestly, Amy didn't even understand it. She felt terrified and confused all at once, and what made things worse was the major migraine that had started stabbing into her head as soon as the kiss happened. She knew it wasn't going to be a simple migraine that'd go away after taking some painkillers. After she collected herself, she'd need to collect Vince and head home. Would he even want to leave? He was enjoying drinking with the others. She didn't want to spoil his fun. She also didn't want to be alone. Not after that. She washed her mouth again, the warm tingle from where Tyler's lips had been on hers, where his tongue had run across. She felt sick, but there was a deep part in the back of her mind that she couldn't understand. No, she didn't want to understand it. It was a weird longing. She refused to understand it, or let it linger. She turned, leaving the bathroom, and headed for Vince. He saw her, and despite being drunk, he noticed something was off. He'd always been sharp. Why was he always so sharp? He excused his drunken self, stumbling his way to Amy. He didn't know what had happened after Amy had followed Tyler out. His gut twisted in an unpleasant manner. There was really only one reason Amy's eyes would be red from crying. Why she rushed to the bathroom, her face now slightly damp. Everything pointed to one thing that ate at Vince, but the alcohol in his system wasn't allowing his anger to blossom. "What'd he do?" Vince said, stopping before Amy as she looked away. He noticed the slight tremble in her body, and that alone ignited his rage. "I'll kill him," Vince slurred. Amy blocked his path, though. "No, you can't. He thought I was someone else. He's drunk, much like you. Let's just go home, please." Her voice trembled, her body trembled, and his anger rose. "Please, Vince." Her voice broke him, and he caved under her repeated plea. He wanted nothing more than to go out and drag Tyler off into a dark corner, one he wouldn't rise from. He couldn't, though. He couldn't bring himself to leave Amy when she looked so hurt. "It wasn't your fault," he mumbled, pulling her closer, kissing her forehead even though it wasn't gentle like he had planned. Someone from the table Vince had been shouting at them to get a room. That all made the other drunken souls in the building laugh. Amy wasn't in the mood. "We'll take our leave," she muttered, looping an arm around Vince to help him walk straight. Despite Vince's state, he managed to put himself between Amy and Tyler when Tyler stumbled back in, calling her name. He looked horrified, desperate. He flinched as Vince did his best to glare at him. Please don't quit." Tyler's eyes were begging them both. It seemed he had sobered up greatly. The stabbing pain in Amy's head made her flinch. "We are going home." Her tone was cold. They moved past Tyler, and he reached out to grab Amy's arm, but his hand was gripped by Vince, strength smashing down on the bones. "Don't touch her," Vince growled. All the anger he'd been suppressing filled his voice, and his hand as it clamped onto Tyler. Tyler shivered, feeling afraid that his hand was going to get broken, but Amy pried Vince's fingers loose. Her eyes were cold. "You don't get to decide that." Amy's words raced over Tyler like ice, making him gasp slightly. His mouth opened to protest, but only air left him as the two of them turned, leaving him scared, regretful, and ashamed of himself. A few hours later, Amy sat in bed, her legs curled up to her chest as Vince slept off his drunken state. Her head had been killing her, not even the migraine meds had helped. She had had more time to think about everything that happened. One thing that struck her as odd was how had she known Tyler didn't often smoke. It wasn't like she hung around him enough to know that, but it had been such a natural thought. The other thing that bothered her was the faintly familiar touch of his lips. Even though it had been rough, she should have been completely repulsed, but a tiny part of her had felt it was right. Was she truly such a fickle woman? She hadn't thought herself to be. Lastly, she had been having blurred flashes of her and Tyler together. It made the pain in her head worse, made her even more confused. Feeling like she was betraying Vince even further. Why? Why was this happening? Had she finally dove off the deep end mentally? She grabbed her phone, turning the brightness all the way down, and started scrolling through the therapists. She even went as far as trying to search what she was experiencing. Each thing she found was that she was falling in love with that person. Her eyes drooped low, even though she felt more frustrated than she had before. Sleep was calling her name. She shut the phone off, curling under the covers. Vince's back was towards her, so she moved closer, pressing her body against his back. Her hand draped over his chest, and she felt him grab it in his sleep. She would worry about it tomorrow. Amy's mind drifted into sleep without hesitation, and though her body rested, her mind wanted to toy with her further. She found herself in the dream. It wasn't the first time she had watched her dreams from the sidelines, as if Amy were watching a movie play before her. Tyler and her stood in a gorgeous yet simple house. They were in the living room. Amy knew this house well. She knew where everything was. Tyler was hugging her. I know my father opposes our marriage, but still, after everything, Amy, you can't just leave me. I can't do it anymore. Tyler, you have no idea. Tyler shook her by the shoulders. I know all too well. You can't do this to me. Don't let him sink his fangs into you as well. Amy, you're all I need. He shouted at her, but his voice was nothing more than a plea. Amy crossed her arms in the darkness, watching herself talk, shout, and cry. It hurt. Everything about this hurt. She couldn't wrap her mind around this. She knew that Tyler's father had been the cause of a lot of people's suffering, but why was she watching some scene like this? It shifted on her, making her feel sick. She was standing before Tyler's father, his oldest brother restraining her. They had forced her to the floor on her knees. What more do you want, you sick bastard? Amy spat the words at the old man, but he only chuckled. I did as you asked. Let my mother go. Daryl kept on chuckling. Sweet little Amy. You know, you really did help make taking down my foolish son easier. You shattered his world by leaving. But still, with how much he fought me at every corner, I know him very well. He won't leave you alone. Amy trembled as she glared up at Daryl. Let my mother go, she demanded. A door opened, and then a long, strange bag thudded to the floor next to Amy. Her eyes glued to it as it didn't move. I let her go long ago. Those phone calls? Pre-recorded. You and Tyler really thought you could beat me? Daryl's laughter was echoed by Tyler's oldest brothers. Someone stepped out from the door where they had just tossed the bag down. The person walked over, kneeled down, and untied it, showing Amy her mother's dead face. A faint smell wafted from the bag, making Amy gag and choke on her tears. No. She sobbed. Her mother's throat was slit. A flash of something shiny caught Amy's eye, and her head snapped towards it. She saw Daryl twirling a knife. "I used this to end her life, and you'll have the honor of joining her soon. Oh, but not until—" He snapped his fingers, and the sound of something being dragged filled the air. Amy's heart throbbed painfully in her chest. Had this crazy man murdered his own son? Was that what he was going to show her? Another man stepped in, dragging Tyler with him. Tyler was alive, but bound and gagged. His eyes grew wide as they landed on Amy, his voice muffled. His eyes darted between the body bag, Amy, and his father. His gagged pleas became more desperate, and he tried to fight against the man. The man punched Tyler in the gut. "Now the party can start. Tyler, my boy, you should have just listened to me like your brothers. Things would have been so much better if you had. Now, for the main event." Tyler still tried fighting against the man, receiving another punch to the gut. Amy's eyes glued to Tyler. She was still crying. She had no strength to fight. "I love you, Tyler." Her voice broke as she uttered the words over and over again, telling him how sorry she was. Daryl crouched down to her level. The cool still of the blade reached her throat, and she forced a faint smile on her face. "I love—" The blade slid, slowly, painfully, through the flesh of Amy's throat. Sweat covered Amy's body as she sprang up from the bed, grasping, gripping her throat, clamping down on it, trying to stop the blood, screaming. Her screams brought Vince bursting through the door, his arms wrapping around her. Faint morning beams of light filled the room. "Amy! Hey! It was just a nightmare. Shh!" Vince cooed. But Amy couldn't stop the trembling of her body, the sobs that consumed her, the terror of what she had just dreamed about, the feeling of the blade. Everything felt so real. "It's okay," Vince muttered again, brushing through her hair. She clung to Vince, trying to collect her thoughts, stop herself from crying more. She wasn't sure how much time had gone by as Vince stayed with her, rocking her into a slow comfort. He didn't dare ask questions. He'd never seen her like this before. It scared him. But he couldn't show that. He had to be there for her. "I bet the porridge is cold now. Well, your half. I ate mine, hoping to ease the pain from my hangover. I'll make you something fresh." He went to let go, but Amy latched onto him. "Please, just stay with me a little longer." "You need to eat, Amy." Vince's voice wasn't demanding, though. Amy shook her head. No. Her voice was hoarse from her previous sobbing. She shook her head again. I can't right now. Please?" Vince sighed. "Fine. How about I fix up the tub with some Epsom salts and you soak? Afterwards, we can face the problem." Amy froze. "I don't want—" "The problem with Tyler. He's been blowing up both our phones. I want to know exactly what he did." Amy nodded. Oh. Vince nodded. "I remember I was pissed, but other than that, the night is a blur. I don't want to answer the calls in case it was something the two of you needed to talk over." Amy watched Vince head into the bathroom. The sound of water and him dumping those little soothing rocks into the water made her feel more stable. Steam began wafting from the room as he returned. "Come on." Amy let out a soft sigh. "You really are too good to me. Most boyfriends would be demanding answers, pissed at the thought that something happened with another man." Vince shrugged as he helped her unpeel the sweat-soaked shirt. "We've been together long enough that I know whatever happened wasn't your doing. If I should be mad at anyone, It'd be Tyler. For now, soak for a bit. I'll bring you some water to sip on. Relax. I demand it. She nodded, slipping into the warm lavender-scented waters, a soft sigh of relief leaving her as the waters hugged her aching body. She hadn't noticed it before, maybe because her head had been aching so much. Vince returned after about 5 minutes had passed, bringing not only a glass of water, but a small bowl of blueberries. I know you can't turn these down, and you need to eat something. His tone stern as he sat cross-legged on the floor next to the tub. Amy giggled softly. Should I call you my savior or my tormentor, demanding such things from me? Vince grinned. Someone has to keep you in line, and healthy. Vince sat there, popping one blueberry after the other into Amy's mouth. He made one smart-aleck comment about treating her like a goddess while he did well in his mere servant's role, playfully demanding a raise. He was rewarded with a kiss instead. After she had devoured the blueberries, he began washing her hair, his hands skillfully scrubbed through her skull with the perfect amount of pressure. She couldn't drag it on anymore. He was being so great and treating her like a queen when she was sure he wasn't feeling too grand thanks to his own hangover. So, shall we talk about what happened? His hands paused, and she wondered if she had felt them tremble slightly. Do you want to tell me now, or wait until you're out of the tub? Your hair's been thoroughly lathered. I can wait just a bit longer. Amy nodded. All right. I'll rinse off quickly so we can talk about what to do. Vince stood, leaving the bathroom. He went to the couch, their usual chatting spot. She came out within a few minutes and joined him. He could see the hesitation, the pain, the fear. It all echoed across Amy's face. So, I went out to check on him. I told him it'd be smart to call it a night. That I could round up everyone since I had the least amount to drink. Vince nodded. Yes, the mama bear you always are when drinking with friends. Amy nodded, her frown deepening. He stumbled while giggling. I caught him. I told him we'd go to the bench nearby so I could call him a ride, and then he kissed me. Vince's calm expression darkened at once. He did what? His voice was cold. Amy shivered. He kissed me. And not in just a I kind of like you manner. He tried to stick his tongue in my mouth. Like he was kissing someone he loved. That's why I said he mistook me for someone else. Vince's hand dug into the cushion of the couch. That's inexcusable. And yet he dares to try and call? That bastard, I swear I'll... Their heads turned when there was a knock at the door. Did you order something while I was soaking? Amy asked, standing to go for the door, but Vince grabbed her hand. No. I have a feeling I know who it is. Vince stomped towards the door, ripping it open to expose Tyler, poised to knock once more. Oh, so I wasn't getting an answer from either of you, and I got a bit worried. You have a lot of nerve turning up here, Tyler. The cold, dark expression on Vince's face was a first for Tyler. He backed up almost instantly. Please, just... Vince slammed the door shut on Tyler's face. It felt satisfying to do. He wanted to slam his fist into the man's face as well, but he was still his boss. Amy hadn't thought Tyler would show up at their door. Please, just let me in to at least tell you both how sorry I am. Please. Vince glanced at Amy, who stared at the door before nodding. I fear if we don't, he'll cause a scene outside. Vince groaned before opening the door. You sober? I'm not letting you in drunkenly to kiss my girl again. Tyler's face heated. I'm more than sober. Please, can we... Vince stepped back, watching as Tyler slipped into their place. His eyes didn't meet Amy, not even for a second. The three of them stood in a strained, awkward silence. If you aren't gonna open your mouth, the door's there, Vince growled, jabbing his finger towards the door. He clearly wanted nothing to do with Tyler at the moment. No, I need to... Tyler looked up, finally. His green eyes met hers, and her stomach lurched. They held the same pleading look from her dream, when he had begged her not to break up with him. She shook her head. This wasn't some dream. This man had forcibly kissed her. She crossed her arms, glaring, and he dropped to his knees. Neither of them had expected that. I truly am sorry. I know no apology can make up for what I did, even if it was just a kiss and nothing more. It was inexcusable. I know even now I have no right to ask that you stay working at my company, Amy. He paused for a moment. His fists balled so tightly his fingers were turning white. I know that, yet I must. I must ask it. With the product just launching, no, we need you there. If you wish to sue me later, you wouldn't have to go through all of that. I'll hand over the profits from your product. All of it. I'll stay out of your sight and send Henry for any of the paperwork. Vince scoffed at Tyler. Are you serious? You think money can... But Amy shook her head, her eyes flickering with emotions, but her voice was stilled. I don't want money. And if you go from hovering around me to hiding away, others will catch on. What I want is for you to tell me it won't happen. Ever. Again. As much as I would love to step down, to find a new place, as you said, my product just released. If I run from your drunken slip-up, I won't be able to watch my idea blossom. Vince now echoed Amy's stance, his arms crossing, his eyes hard as he watched Tyler. Tyler remained on his knees. It had to be killing him, but that wasn't Vince's problem. Served him right. Vince's jaw tightened, wanting Amy to quit, but he knew it'd break her heart, letting go of a project she'd been working on for years. He wouldn't steal that from her. Tyler nodded. I swear on Alvco, I will not make the same blunder again. After this, I don't plan to touch alcohol again. So, I hope that assures you even more. The tension in Amy loosened. Okay. Now, please get off the floor and leave. Tyler nodded, scrambling to stand. He headed for the door. Vince, I also want to tell you how sorry I am. I wasn't the one you hurt with your actions. Not really. So as long as you mean it, I'll let it slide. But if I find out something like this happened again, you're going to need all your money to fix that face of yours. Tyler nodded. Got it. Tyler had never seen this side of Vince in the many years of working with the man. He was utterly shocked at how much restraint he had. He was pretty sure his face would have already looked like it'd been dragged through a meat grater if it weren't for Amy. A subtle reminder that you never really know a person unless you live with them. Amy didn't seem shocked at all. Thank you, both, Tyler said before slipping out the door. As soon as the door shut, Amy's legs wavered under her and she hit the couch. Vince was there in a flash. You okay? His hand resting on her shoulder. She leaned into the touch. I didn't know I was holding my breath throughout that. Thank you. Vince chuckled. For what? Not actually bashing his head in? Her laughter was a bit dry. You've kept your record of that clean for, 3 years now. How about keeping it that way? The last thing I need is you getting arrested for beating up your boss. You just need to stop being so attractive. His tone light as he leaned over the back of the couch, hugging her shoulders. I won't let your efforts be wasted. If you want to stay, I won't argue. I may not like it, but I won't be the one to break your heart over your work. Not when I know how much it means to you, especially this one. Amy relaxed completely into his arms. I hope you know you mean more to me than my work. If you had asked me to quit, I would have. For you. Her words warmed Vincent's heart. Just allow me to beat him up if he tries anything like that again. Amy laughed softly. It's a deal. To be continued! Hello guys, how are you doing? Are you enjoying this? Because I know I am. Yes, we are slowly but surely diving into the spicier bits, and I hope you are enjoying them as much as I am writing them out. I have actually toyed with a few of them because I know how some people can feel a little bit triggered by forced things like this, you know, because consent is key. But we are not going to dive down into the darker bits. It is literally just going to be forced kisses. So, you don't have to worry about the darker side of forced affection. Not entirely, at least. But this is why I put the warning at the very beginning, because some of my works do have this, and then some of my works will not. Some of them are very gory, and other ones are light. But this one is on the dark side, so if you are not up for that, I suggest you drop now, because the next couple of parts are probably going to hit on the darker side of Amy's previous lives. And yes, I am going to give you that little deal if you did not catch on already. Anyways, I do hope you are enjoying it. Let me know in the comments, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye!